John Larson, John Larkin.
John
Okay, they're both they did both just show up.
John Larkin was in before.
He was. He's back.
Oh, and there's
There's
Craig.
Craig, yeah.
Dinner screwed me up. I wasn't going to eat half-done chicken.
Yeah, not a good idea ever. Unless you want to spend the next few days.
I took the small
Yeah.
piece. The other kids left it on the grill.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Ah, there's John.
Hi, John.
I'm here.
Yeah, we only get to see you from the nose up, though. It's
It seems to happen only by accident, though.
oh. All right. So are we recording, Kim?
Yes, we are.
All right, great. Well, then let's get the meeting started. Two things of substance we need to talk about. I'll let Jim take the lead on the first one, which is there is a price charge from Eversource to connect our gas utility. And Jim, you have the details on that?
Sure. So we filled the application out, and now to finish the project, the actual construction, they need at least a copy of the check, which I think that we do that with every project. So now we have to get, once the board okays it, Wayne, you can sign that, right? I mean, or does Mike have to sign that, or is it, it's what?
The committee has authority up to $50,000.
Okay. Yep.
So the chief procurement officer should be issuing, doing his financial duties according to that authority. So
Okay.
there should not require any additional approvals.
Good. So once that gets approved, we'll be able to submit that. I will ask Mike to see if Lisa can cut a check because they're on their 2-week. So as soon as Kim gets it over, we'll be able to get that check cut, send it over. And
What exactly is there? What is there that I have to get over?
you never got the application for it.
No.
Can you pull that up?
Good. Let's talk about something else and I'll see if I can.
And we just approved the AP warrant, so this will have to wait till the next cycle.
Next cycle being,
It's every couple of weeks, right? I mean, it's
2 weeks.
Yeah.
She sometimes can cut it if it's an emergency. She can cut
Yes.
it, but unfortunately, I mean, you'll all have to come in and sign it, but.
so while you're looking for that, then let's
Yep.
talk about the second issue, which is the document that I've sent to everybody earlier. It was yesterday. It's referred to as change order number 3. If it ever gets approved, it'll have a different number because we only have change order number 1 that's been approved so far. There may be others, I'm not sure. So this may not keep the same number, but the point is, and if everybody has that available, I just like to talk about it in some degree. I sent you the original submittal from Cardozi. I had some questions about it. Actually, I had quite a few questions about it. I went through not only the detail of the invoices and costs incurred directly by Cardozi, but my substantial questions had to deal with the GC subcontractor, Connolly Concrete. In short, there are some errors that Cardozi has acknowledged, and if you read the emails, you saw their response. It doesn't amount to significant dollars, but we'll correct that. The big issue relates to Connolly's cost, that $13,230. Dave Romachi signed slips for all of that work as T&M work, which was extra work to place blankets and protect the footings and the placement of the concrete in February during the coldest period of time. There's costs there for temporary heat and the heaters. And Dave is very comfortable with the 141 and a half hours of that work. The issue then goes to the cost. And I had substantial questions about the cost. And I was able to, after uh, going through Dave's daily project manager slips, and he's doing a great job of keeping track of every contractor on a daily basis, the hours, the manpower, the materials that are arriving on site, and their equipment. So, that's a great resource to have all of that documentation. Then I matched that up with the certified payrolls that Jim McKay had. And essentially what Connolly has charged us is the standard basic labor rate, which is $49.32. But that is before any labor overhead expense, doesn't include workers' comp, unemployment. And so that cost, that $59 grossed up, comes to the $85 an hour that they charged us. Now I have an issue because if you look at the submittal, it appears to me that the math, and I checked with Jay Cardozi, we spoke about this last Thursday after the construction meeting. And it appears that the math that gets you to $85 an hour, if you're looking at the cover sheet, or you look at the loaded rate markups, what you'll see is 42.85%. Rich, you should be familiar with this. It looks like they took that $59 rate, marked it up by 42.85 or 42.85%, and that's how they got their $85 an hour.
Correct.
Everybody follows that?
Mhm.
Here's the problem with that. And I challenged Cardozi about it. Not that it's that material, but I think it's not correct. Because that $42.85 is Cardozi's labor burden expense, not Connolly's labor burden expense. So to get to the $85, I would expect that Connolly has a different workers' comp rate, different unemployment rate. I'm not sure what all is in the rest of their labor expense. It's probably going to be in the area, but I think the way it's calculated, there's nothing to show me. There's no math here to confirm how they got to that $85. I can only surmise that it came through the way that I just explained. Cardozi's response to me was that may just be coincidence. I'm not sure about that, but that's what he had to say.
Can I ask a question, Wayne?
Sure.
So if this is basically a sub, so the sub carries their own insurance. So my question is, if Cardozi is paying them $55 an hour, we should be done because they carry their own workman's comp. They have all their own stuff. When we hire a sub, I don't pay workman's comp on top of that because it's all covered under theirs. So why are we paying? Why are they loading the extra on top of it?
No, that's exactly my point.
Right.
We should see some calculation for how Connolly grosses up from the $59 that he's showing on the certified payroll that he's actually paying the employees. He does have payroll expenses. He does have workman's comp. That's not in that $59 rate, but it's likely to be different than what Cardozi is showing here is the $42.85. Now, I checked all of this with Jeff D'Amico from Compass to see what his experience is because he deals with certified payrolls all the time, and so he looked at records for the Clyde Brown project, and he said, "You're looking at it the right way. these expenses are, appear reasonable. The payroll expenses are likely to be in the ballpark. So I wanted to get a verification that you know, we weren't getting double dipped and that we were looking at it correctly. So that kind of goes to the math. So the hours are okay as far as Dave's concerned, and he's the person to make that determination. I verified the cost to some fashion, which again, subject to a little bit further review. But the real question here is who's responsible for winter conditions? And there are arguments that cut both ways. The first argument in favor of the town is that there is no cost in the contract for winter conditions. Contractor owns winter conditions, whatever those costs are, that's what they know. They're responsible for, and so in one sense, the town shouldn't be paying anything. On the other hand, this contract or this bid was placed in August. We asked Cardozi to hold it because we didn't have the funds to approve it until after town meeting. And if you recall, he agreed to do that. He spoke with all of his subs and they agreed to hold their price till after town meeting. By the time we gave them the green light, got the permits, we're able to break ground. We're in a different period of time. And so the argument to be made on in counter is that, you know, maybe their price would have been different had they bid it at the time when it was actionable, if you will. And so they're exposed to incurring costs that they might not have otherwise incurred or may have included in their base bid. And so to me, I can see it both ways. And the discussion that I had with Cardozi and Robert Taylor, Jim McKay was on the call with Dave Ramachi Thursday after our weekly construction meeting, was simply that after we had verified or got comfortable with the cost and the hours, there are arguments that cut both ways. And so I said, I have no authority here to make you an offer, but I would make a recommendation to the committee that if you were agreeable, that we would consider splitting those costs down the middle, paying essentially 50% of that cost. So Cardozi wasn't real sure about it. He said, I want to think about it. He made a comment near the end that said, well, I'm not sure I'd rather get a smaller amount of money early than a larger amount later on. And I'm not sure what that all related to. I told him that we were meeting tonight and that if he wanted to come to an agreement, which he said he did, he wanted to negotiate something and get this behind him, that we were meeting tonight and would consider it. I got an email this afternoon at about 2 o'clock that said they were still considering the offer, but we're not in a position to say yes or no at this point. So that's the whole story. My recommendation to the committee is what I just related to you, that if we can resolve this at 50% of the cost, I think that's fair and a worthwhile way to proceed. We still have a long way to go with Cardozi, and they've been very amicable and easy to work with. So I'm not looking for a win at the expense of somebody losing. I'm looking for a solution that is either a win for both people or a little bit painful for both sides. And so that's how I kind of sized up the issue. Now, if they come back and make some kind of counter proposal, if it is of a nominal amount, I think my advice would be to consider it. If it's a substantial difference, my recommendation would be no. If you think that you're entitled to more money, you're going to have to invest something on your own in order to make your case. So that's my perspective. I throw it open to the rest of the committee for your comments as to whether or not you think we should proceed in this fashion or in some other way.
Wayne,
John,
what's the bottom line on this? What does 50% amount to roughly?
about $9,000 or $10,000.
Okay, substantial.
Yeah, their amount, John, is 19,000, just under $19,500. There's some credits, so that'll come down a little bit. It's figure half of $19,000.
Okay.
Hey,
Rich?
Wayne, yeah, no, I like your approach. I think that 50% sounds fair. We go through this all the time with winter conditions. You know, the subs take the job. It's, you know, they take it in October and then it snows. And then it's like, well, we're going to charge you for the snow shoveling. And it's like, well, didn't you know you're going to be doing this project in the winter? And so we usually end up doing something like we're doing right now when we negotiate, you know, the payment on it. So it's unfortunately standard practice.
Yeah, the thing that really is difficult for me is that the dollars are so big, and not to get totally off subject here, but when you look at this, if you look at the cover sheet for that $19,000, and when you look at the $85 an hour, and then you gross it up for the GC's expense, a common laborer's expense to the town is $104.72 an hour. And people talk about how expensive it is. And I know, Jim McCaffrey, you've made this comment about building schools in Nebraska. Unless you're dealing with an apprentice, the laborer charge, the most economical cost you can incur on this project, is costing us almost $105 an hour. And people, you know, complain about how much it costs to build schools or libraries or police stations or what have you. And the reality is, this is where we live, and this is the law. This is part of the expense of living in Massachusetts. Craig and Diane, any comments? I'm looking for some feedback from the committee as to whether or not the approach is one that you're comfortable with.
I'm comfortable with the approach. I mean, I do get the point that we asked him to hold it in August. If we would have gone forward with the contract as it was written, he wouldn't have actually incurred any winter conditions. So I think a negotiated settlement of 50% is reasonable. I think that's I think it's a win or a loss for both sides, depending how you want to look at it. So I think you're right. It's a reasonable solution.
I agree.
Me too.
Diane?
Me too. I don't like having to pay anything, but given where we are, hey, you know, I could use that shopping for furniture inside. What can I say?
Yeah, you know what? You're never going to have that money to shop for furniture, so
Damn.
that shouldn't be part of your consideration. All right,
Yeah,
Jim?
so I say we wait and see what he offers. If he
Yeah.
offers to come to the half, then I'm okay with that.
That'd be
I'd say you are an evil negotiator and hooray for you.
Well, again, we still have a lot of money to share and a lot of building to build. So I want this to fit within, you know, an overall good project, and I'm hoping that you agree that this is a reasonable approach, and frankly that Cardozi agrees as well. And if it doesn't, then we may have to embark on a different relationship. Jim McKay,
Yes, so I believe it is very reasonable, and if you recall, the weeks that we knew that this weather was going to be inclement, he chose to work that week. He chose to bring the cement trucks in. We gave him the option of a delay, and he knows that. He admitted that during that meeting on Thursday that, he could have delayed the whole project. He didn't, so he took on the responsibility of working in winter conditions. We wouldn't have had any choice if he'd said that, you know what, I'm going to wait till the end of February. Would have been, a delayed of the opening of the building. But so I think it's a very fair, settlement. You're taking on, the committee's taking on responsibilities for the work that they did, and I think he needs to step up to the plate also.
Mr. McCaffrey.
I think you're right. I agree with the comments that Rich made. This is contract 101 in the construction world. And I think every contractor basically goes into it thinking, oh yeah, well, I'm sure December will be 75 and sunny.
Mhm.
Then it's a big shock when it's snow and 5 degrees above zero.
Mhm. And I think that to some degree, we don't know them, they don't know us, and there may be some trying us on for size. And
Yeah.
there's no harm in asking. And I'm not sure, what went into putting this change order together. But I think our approach in evaluating it is sound. So that's what I want the committee to all be comfortable with.
Yes, Wayne, I think that's reasonable. I think it's certainly fair to the contractor. We're not trying to stiff them. But it's a shared responsibility.
Okay, good. Then I will proceed. I certainly will keep everybody appraised. I think you'll see, short emails going back and forth. My thought is if they want to renegotiate this in a substantial way, I think my recommendation to the committee would be no. You're going to have to make your case. You're going to have to invest something to convince us that what we've offered is not fair. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. All right. Okay, then let's move on to the other subject. Jim, do we have the?
I just emailed it to everybody. I don't know if they have it, but Kim, can you pull it up, or
Yeah,
I can
hold on.
try
let
to
me-
share it, but
Let me just get to my email and see if I can.
hopefully I sent you the.
Here's the
um,
contract.
So that's the contract, and if you look down at number 7, I believe it gives the amount of payment, the amount of to be contributed by the customer of the company towards the work shall be $11,837.36. Number 7.
Okay, the amount's up here. That's right here.
Yep.
Oops. Okay, so this, what do I need to do? I need to do a cover sheet as if we're paying an invoice, Jim?
Correct. I would do the same. I would do a warrant and attach this to it. I mean, you must have, I cannot see, you had to have done this for the school project. Please state.
We did. We did. It was just a long time ago. I can't remember.
Yeah. So I would just attach this. We're going to have a discussion, and I think Mike Kaczynski is going to have to get involved in it because we're paying for work that's not been performed. And as we know, that's all been a discussion in the past. But ultimately, it has to be done. I mean,
Jim, can I bring up something? So the question is, how far is this service going in? Is there an existing service there and they're reattaching it? Is it all
no,
new?
this is brand new.
How far? Because
Yeah,
it's like $75 a lineal foot is what they charge per
Right.
service.
Yeah, it's several hundred. It's a good couple of 100 feet. We're going from the road to the side road to the back building and to the DPW building.
Okay, now that
We're gonna
makes
have the
more
same thing
sense.
with the electrical. That's coming. I mean, the electrical will be here probably next, by our next meeting.
Well, we did a job and the Eversource came and they wanted $75,000 to upcharge, because they wanted to upgrade the whole neighborhood. And the owner told them oil heat. And they renegotiated and he got it down to, like $30,000. So, but it's, that seems like just a regular connection. So I don't think that's absurd.
Okay. So then I need a motion then to approve this amount.
I make a motion to approve the cost for Eversource to connect the gas services to the building for the amount of, and I don't see the amount because it's not.
It's right-
done.
It's
It's right
up
on
here.
top,
Sorry.
Rich.
$830.
$837.36.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? All right, by roll call, Diane Germain, how do you vote?
Aye.
John Larkin,
Aye.
Rich Nichols,
Aye.
Craig Schultz,
Aye.
Wayne Clocko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Wayne,
Jim,
yeah, can I just
Yeah.
ask the question, is this it? We got multiple buildings. Will this cover all the buildings, these hookups, or are there more to come?
This is the gas services. This is the only gas service. There'll be 2 electrical services, one for the facilities bay and one for the staff wing.
Jim,
Okay.
I think
Oh, I'm
Jim
sorry, this-
McCaffrey,
Yeah.
Jim McCaffrey's question was, is this gonna work for the staff building and the vehicle?
Right,
No, there's no gas out, and if I'm not mistaken, there's no gas out into the service bay. That's gonna be electric heat. This is mainly for the staff wing.
thank
And
you.
A new
One
electrical
more question,
service-
Jim.
Yeah, the electrical service will be brought out from the pole halfway down near the salt shed, and that's already trenched in. And that'll be for a new electrical service for the mechanics bay. Yes.
The generator, is that diesel because it has to be diesel because it's emergency only counts as diesel and like when over at the Clyde Brown, or do you have any anticipation that you'll need another gas service for the a generator?
Yeah, that we're gonna have to look into. Wait, there's no, we're gonna use the generator for the staff wing. Did we ever? I don't think we put one in for the back building.
we have made a provision for a pad. We have stubbed the conduit
Correct.
to connect to a generator pad for the vehicle building, but there is no generator for that building. It's out of scope.
The only question I'd ask is just to make sure that if we are gonna run it off of gas, is that we should make sure that you have the capacity. Because you need a certain amount of water column and you need a certain amount of volume. So you should just double check that, or you go diesel.
Well, but connecting gas to that vehicle building would be a lot more trenching.
You wouldn't have to do it now. I mean, if you have the capacity on the service coming in, you can add the generator. If we don't, if the service is too small, but worst case is, I mean, you have a diesel tank there. It may make sense to go diesel.
Right.
So
Right.
just something to think about.
And we did talk about diesel because Jim, you had a diesel generator from, I
Correct.
believe, the pumping station on Middlesex Street
Right.
that you had retired, but it was the wrong voltage and amperage, and so not usable. So I think the feeling, Rich, was when the time came, if it could be afforded, we'd replace, or we'd put in a diesel generator.
Okay, well then that closes that subject. So that's good. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, have a couple other invoices to approve.
Yes, we do. Let me pull those up. So the first one is for DP and Sons excavation for $637.50. And I'm trying to, oh, there we go.
And
Scroll down.
that's a loam that the DPW spread for the groundwater retention basin.
Why
Make a
are we,
motion.
why are we paying tax?
We won't, you, believe me, that they won't pay it. So it's just the 600. So when you make your motion, I would just make the motion on the $600.
Right,
I make a motion that we approve the amount of $600 to DP Excavation for loan for the DPW project.
second,
Second.
third,
Been moved and seconded by roll call. Craig Schultz. How do you
Aye.
vote? Diane Germain,
aye,
Rich Nichols,
Aye.
John Larkin.
Muted, John.
Aye.
Wayne Clocko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, last one.
Last one is GCG in the amount of $4,153.50, which is actually for the Yankee, right? Yankee Engineering.
Right.
Which I can scroll down to that too.
Yeah, pull that up. Jim, I've sent you a note and I want to get comfortable with this. I'm not at this point in relation, not for this expense that's been incurred, but for what lays ahead. We have some additional concrete to place. We've got some concrete curbing at the vehicle building. We've got the retaining wall, which I think is going to be cast in place now. It's not block. That's going to be cast in place. We'll have some rebar to inspect in both of those areas. I know if you look at this invoice, you can see on March 31st, they inspected the wood framing of the staff building. I'm not sure what else is in their scope of work to inspect. And I know that they've been just attending our weekly staff meetings. I'm not sure to what extent that's productive time. So I'd like your take on what lies ahead for us with Yankee and GCG.
Sure. So I did talk to Mike Carter about this today, and what he said is they're still following whatever inspections it was laid out by Robert and the design of what needs to be inspected. He did say that from his expectations, he can, like you said, it will be winding down very shortly once that the structural part of the welding is all completed, which I think that was completed last week. We can tell them at any time that, they can stop the inspections, but I'm sure Robert and SGH would want a sign, something signing off that the inspections weren't going to be made, because it's up to us to do these inspections. But what I'll do is I'll get in touch with Robert and Conrad tomorrow and find out what is actually left. And if you want, we can tell them, that we just don't need them to attend the Thursday meetings, if that's.
All right, Rich.
Yeah, so I think on that, the architect and SGH is, they're an engineer, they want to cover they want another engineer to cover their butt. Robert wants the engineer to cover their butt. I think on the, we may want to have the slab tested, just because when you do the vehicle slab, you'd probably want to make sure that concrete was okay. The retaining wall, you may want to test that, and the welds, but beyond that, I think we're done.
That's my feeling as well, Rich. That retaining wall, we've spent a lot of time talking about salt, rebar, painted rebar. The project manager for Cardozi said the one pour from Tresca for the staff building was the only time his concrete didn't meet the strength specification. But I think that is worth verifying, especially because we got the wetlands, we're, retaining, what's on site, and from going into the wetlands, that retaining wall, I think, should be, constructed, that we're very comfortable with that. But once we get past the concrete placement, I likewise feel like we're done.
Wayne, have we had any discussion about adjusting Tresca's cost for this?
We have not. There is, but I think, Diane, the Tresca issue is being remedied. If you recall, the discussion for the strength, and I think they wanted 5,000 PSI
Yep.
concrete for that staff building, which is much higher than you would normally require. The reasoning we got from SGH was because, again, they wanted it for salt protection against salt intrusion. And if you recall, Diane, they are coating the exposed foundation
I do, yep,
to protect that, and that's going to be no cost to the project.
okay,
So we're getting functionally what we
yep.
paid for, just a different way.
As I recall, Robert said it was only around 4,300. Not
Right.
5,000.
Right.
Yep, okay.
Rich, you comfortable with that?
Yep, no issue.
John Larkin?
Yeah, I am. I think that adjustment was strictly between Cardozi and Tresca. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. That concludes the regularly scheduled broadcast tonight.
Oh, we
Well,
didn't
we
vote on
haven't,
that.
we haven't voted it
We
yet.
haven't voted on that. I make a motion that we approve the amount of $4,153.50 for your GCG.
Second, because Wayne wants to leave. 5 minutes.
Any further discussion? All right, by roll call, Craig Schultz,
Aye.
John Larkin,
Aye.
Rich Nichols,
Aye.
Diane Germain,
Aye.
Wayne Clocko votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
So I just
Thank you. Go
ask
see
ano-
Dancing with the Stars, Wayne.
Anything else that we need to talk about?
I just want to clarify about the Eversource. One more question. I feel like in the past, we've asked them to hold the check and we've picked it up to
Yeah.
hand deliver it to make it faster. Is that what we need to do?
Yes, I'll talk to you about that, Kim, because I gotta send them actually a copy of it, just so we can even get it even rolling faster. So once Lisa gets it, so if you put on there, hold the check, and yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Anything else?
I think everybody's gonna be surprised who comes down Thursday. I mean, they got the roof on the mechanics bay.
I was there
Hey.
yesterday.
Yeah, that building's never gonna blow over. I mean, that thing's going nowhere.
Well, if you recall, and that's a point that, maybe is worth just reflecting on a little bit. Our original take was that we were going to get a prefab building made somewhere outside of Massachusetts in order to avoid, the additional cost of the labor that we've already just talked about. We have gone to the other end of the spectrum. We have substantial municipal grade constructed buildings here. That's what Simpson Gumpert's produces. That's their business. They talked us into that. That's partly, the explanation for the cost. But these buildings will last. They should serve us for a very long time.
Tell those heavy equipment operators to be careful though.
Yeah, yeah. Big trucks going in that big building.
Will do. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
All right.
you. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Night.